Today we will discuss Q cycle mechanism and its significance. In earlier video, we have already discussed the electron transport chain, nature of electron transport chain, and mechanism of oxidative phosphorylation. There we have mentioned that there is a cycle which is named as the Q cycle, which is responsible for the translocation of protons and also the movement of electrons. Here we will discuss in detail what's its mechanism and its significance in both photophosphorylation as well as in oxidative phosphorylation. So when we see the introduction of this Q stands for quinol or quinones. Basically quinones are aromatic decarbonyl compounds which are derivatives of benzene, and there are two, one is plastoquinone and ubiquinone, which are two important prenyl quinones functioning as electron transporters in plants. In chloroplast, it's named or it's referred as plastoquinone PQ, while as in mitochondria, it's referred as ubiquinone or coenzyme Q. So PQ or plastoquinone is involved in photophosphorylation, which is located in chloroplast thylakoids, and ubiquinone is involved in oxidative phosphorylation, which is located in the mitochondrial inner membrane. So we have a cycle which is involved both in photophosphorylation as well as in oxidative phosphorylation. These PQ and UQ, plastoquinone and ubiquinone, are made up of an active benzoquinone ring attached to a polyisoprene side chain. Structurally, this is the PQ and this is UQ. So PQ and UQ are very similar. They only differ in a methyl group and two substituents on benzene ring. So difference lies here in this functional groups, and there is an additional methyl group. So we have two benzoquinone structures. One is the plastoquinone and another is the ubiquinone, which play a very important role in the Q cycle. We'll discuss it in detail. So Q cycle was first proposed by Peter D. Mitchell in 1975. He named it as a proton motive Q cycle. And you know, Peter Mitchell has also given a chemiosmotic hypothesis of oxidative phosphorylation. So this Q cycle is an ubiquitous mechanism of electron transfer. It's present in both respiratory and photosynthetic systems. We'll discuss them one by one. Q cycle helps in proton pumping into IMS. I'm using IMS for intermitochondrial space, and thylakoid lumen that I'm using at TL. So we will first of all discuss Q cycle in photosynthetic system. The definition can be here, and we will explain this definition in detail. Q cycle is in a photosynthetic system is a cyclic process involving oxidation of plastohydroquinone and differential movement of two electrons, one passing through a linear chain comprised of iron sulfur, rescue protein, cytochrome F, plastocyanin towards photosystem first, while other electron that goes through two B-type cytochromes to reduce semiquinone to plastohydroquinone, helping in movement of protons from stroma to thylakoid lumen. Now this is the definition. Of course, at the end we will understand the meaning of this definition. So first of all, we'll see in photosynthetic systems. We know the electron flow in photosynthetic system or photosynthetic light reactions is accompanied by translocation of proton from stroma to thylakoid. To refresh your memory, we will try to understand that we know this hole is a thylakoid membrane. Within the thylakoid membrane, there are two photosystems. This is the photosystem second, and on an non-apparatid type side is present an photosystem second. This is the lumen of thylakoid, and this will be the stroma side. So we have a stroma side, we have a lumen side. We know photophosphorylation is taking place within this membrane, thylakoid membrane, because pigment systems are located within the thylakoid membrane. We have in plants, there are present photosystem second, P680, and there is photosystem second, which is photosystem first, photosystem first P700 and photosystem second. So it is wrongly written here. We'll correct it here. So we have a photosystem second and photosystem one. Both of them require a particular photon of light, particular wavelength of light, and to excite their reaction center. So in the photosystem second, the photon of light, in addition to exciting this pigment system, leads to the photolysis of the water also. So photolysis of the water is towards the lumen side. And then, you know, the photolysis of water, we have seen it, it will result in the production of protons, production of electrons, and there will be the generation of oxygen. But at the same time, the electrons will be passed on from this system through these carriers, and then ultimately through this final carrier to the system 1, which is P700, and then ultimately it's going to the to reduce NADP to NADPH plus H positive. We have seen this mechanism, which is also called as a Zardski. Here we know the photophosphorylation. Whenever there is a movement of there is a photon excitation of this system. At the same time, there will be an excitation of the first pigment system first also by the photon. Both will be deficit of the electrons, and the electrons will be given by the water. And these electrons will pass through number of electron carriers, and within these carriers is present a cycle which is called as the Q cycle, which we will discuss in detail, which will result in the movement of the electrons towards the cytochrome Bf complex, and also there will be the movement of pumping of the protons from stroma side towards the lumen side. And then one by one electrons will be passed from this cytochrome Bf complex to plastocyanin, a copper containing protein, and then the electrons will be passed on to this deficit system, and ultimately which will result in the reduction of NADP to NADPH in presence of NADPH plus H positive in presence of an ferredoxin NADP reductase. Because these are the carriers: iron sulfur protein, ferredoxin, reducing substance. And then we know now what's happening here. There is an accumulation of protons. There is a translocation of protons. So we have a one side, there are more protons. We have other side which has less protons. So stroma and the lumen side have differential proton concentrations. Here we will have more protons, here we have less proton. There will be a difference of the potential on the two sides. Electrochemical potential will be generated. It will be more positive side, it will be negative side. And then you will see, as we have seen in case of photophosphorylation, that there is an, as per the proton motive force, there will be an efflux of the protons from this side towards the stroma side through a elementary particle which is having an CF0 and CF1 particle through a proton channel, which we have discussed in detail, which results in the coupling of an ADP with inorganic phosphate to form an ATP. In fact, 4 protons will result in the generation of one ATP. That ATP will be towards the stroma side, and then there will be generation of NADPH plus H positive, which you name as an assimilatory power in the light reactions. Now we will concentrate on this Q cycle. First of all, what is happening with this Q cycle or with overall photosynthesis? We see there is an accumulation of protons towards the thylakoid lumen. Proton accumulation in thylakoid lumen, if one molecule of oxygen is produced, that then means there will be 2 water molecules will produce during photolysis of water oxygen, 4 protons and 4 electrons. When a pair of electrons is passed through it, there will be 4 protons translocated. Since we have 4 electrons here, that is 2 pairs. So there will be 8 protons translocated. And we know the overall equation will be when 2 water molecules are photolyzed, oxygen molecule is produced, and there will be the translocation of towards the thylakoid lumen 12 protons. So overall photosynthesis, we know 6 times carbon dioxide, 12 times water, it will give glucose plus 6 times oxygen, 6 times water. Let us see how many protons, how many ATP will be produced this way also. One molecule of oxygen produces 12 protons towards the lumen side. So we have how many molecules of oxygen? We have 6 molecules of oxygen here. So 6 moles of oxygen will produce 12 into 6, that is 72 protons. And we know also that 4 proton is required for 1 ATP synthesis. Therefore, 72 into 4, there are total production of 18 ATP during the light reactions. But we have, in case of the water, 12 water molecules are there. It will produce 24 protons, 24 electrons, 6 water molecules plus 6 water molecules, that is during photolysis of water towards the thylakoid lumen, 24 protons and 24 electrons. So what Q cycle will give us now? If one pair of electron is passed through it, it will result in the translocation of 4 protons. There are overall 12 pairs, that is 24 electrons, that is 12 pairs of electrons. It will give us 48 protons. So total protons towards thylakoid lumen will be 24 plus 48, that is 72. That comes the same figure, 72 protons. And we know 4 protons are used for the generation of one ATP. So we have 72 by 4 protons, it will give 18 ATP synthesizer. That's how the Q cycle will ultimately result in the generation of ATP, because it's responsible for the translocation of the protons towards the lumen side, and then there will be a generation of proton motive force, and the protons will come back. That will result in the generation of the ATP, which will serve as an assimilatory power for the fixation of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates in photosynthesis. Let us discuss the nature of cytochrome Bf complex first, to understand the nature of the mechanism of the Q cycle. This cytochrome Bf complex is also named as plastoquinone plastocyanin reductase. Cytochrome Bf complex is an enzyme complex found in the thylakoid membrane of chloroplast. It catalyzes the transfer of electrons from plastoquinone to plastocyanin. We have seen it in the figure also, because ultimately from the plastoquinone pool, the electrons are to be transferred to the plastocyanin, and it also translocates proton from stroma to thylakoid lumen side. Cytochromes, what are cytochromes basically? We have seen while going through the electron transport chain, they are porphyrin ring system having central atom as iron, and porphyrin iron ring with iron is called as heme. So based on the structure of the bound heme, cytochromes are divided into three types: cytochrome A, cytochrome B, and cytochrome C. Structure of cytochrome types are on the basis of this heme. This is heme A, this is heme B, and this is heme C. These are the structural differences between the three types of the cytochromes. Cytochrome BF complex overall consists of mainly three units, namely cytochrome B6, which has two B-type hemes, namely heme BN and heme BP. We will see it in figure also. Cytochrome F has a C-type cytochrome, heme C, and is located towards the lumen side. Cytochrome F gets its name from its occurrence in chloroplasts of fronds, which means leaves. So that's why it's named as F. There is also present iron sulfur, or which is called as the Reschke protein. Reschke protein was discovered by John S. Reschke et al. In 1964. That's why it is named as iron sulfur, or is for its discoverer. Reschke protein is an iron sulfur protein component of cytochrome complexes. It has a 2 iron and 2 sulfur here. It's loosely embedded in the membrane. So we have a cytochrome B6 first, which is embedded in the thylakoid membrane and contains heme, namely heme BPN and heme BN. BP and heme BN are located parallel to each other and vertically to the thylakoid membrane. Heme BP on lumen side, which is electrochemically positive, that is BP positive, due to presence of more protons. Because I said that thylakoid membrane towards the lumen side and towards the stroma side, there are different potentials. Towards the lumen side, it's more positive, as we have seen, because more protons are there, and due to presence of more protons. And heme BN on stroma side, which is electrochemically negative, because the protons have been translocated from that towards the lumen side. So we have cytochrome B6 has two distinct catalytic sites. One is called as Q0 and QI. Q0 on the lumen side has strong affinity for plastohydroquinone. It is also considered as a proton output site. QI is located on the stromal side and has higher affinity to PQ. QI stands for input of protons. QO stands for the output of the protons. Cytochrome B6F complex, which is overall, it catalyzes the transfer of the electrons from plastoquinone to plastocyanin and pumping of the protons. It's its main function. Well, we have seen in the previous diagram that cytochrome BF complex, it catalyzes the transfer of electrons from plastoquinone to plastocyanin, which goes ultimately to the pigment system first and also results in the pumping of the protons. Let us see with this diagram, though this diagram is to explain the mechanism, but we can discuss with this. This is overall a membrane. So this is the membrane, thylakoid membrane. This whole structure is cytochrome BF complex, B6F complex. Cytochrome B6 towards the stroma side, it has two hemes, heme BP, heme BN. BP is towards the lumen side, positive side. BN is towards the stroma side, which is negative side. And it has also two sites, QI side towards the stroma side and Q0 side, which is towards the lumen side, catalytic sites. And then there is present the iron sulfur Reschke protein, that is towards the lumen side. there is cytochrome F, which is basically an heme C towards the lumen side. So we have carriers on this side and carriers on this side. Then there is also a mobile carrier which is called as the plastocyanin here, which will result in the transfer of electrons from this system towards the pigment system first. So having said, we have seen the nature of the cytochrome B6F complex. That is, it has a B6 which is of two hemes, and there is iron sulfur protein. There are cytochrome F, and there are two catalytic site. One is QI site and another is Q0 site, which is towards the stroma side and towards the lumen side. Let us understand mechanism of the Q cycle now. First of all, a plastohydroquinone binds to the Q site, Q0 site, that is towards the lumen site. Because Q0 site has a higher affinity for plastohydroquinone, QO site has a higher affinity for plastohydroquinone, which has been produced there from continuously from the photosystem second. This plastohydroquinone actually comes from a group of 7 to 10 PQ plastoquinone molecules attached to photosystem second. And the group of PQ molecules is called as PQ pool. So we have a plastoquinone pool which comes between the photosystem second and between the cytochrome BF complex. Q cycle also maintains this pool, this PQH2 pool. You will see there will be a regeneration of this also by the Q cycle. That's why we say that Q cycle also maintains the plastohydroquinone pool, because there will be regeneration of one PQH2 and utilization of two PQH2s during Q cycle. Now, some of the PQ molecules in this pool will be in a reduced form, that is plastohydroquinone. They enter during light reactions into this pool, as I have mentioned earlier also. One PQH2 occupies the QO site, that is the output site. Plastohydroquinone shows differential transfer of electrons, one electron to high potential chain and other to low potential chain, also called as electron bifurcation. We will see detail in the next slide. And it passes its one electron to PC through iron sulfur or cytochrome F heme C, and that is named as the high potential chain. This PQH2 loses an electron and it also loses proton. Electrons are picked up by PC, which takes them to pigment system first to reduce NADP. Because there will be the transfer of single electrons at a time. Now PQH2 has lost one electron and one proton to become semiquinol. The next electron is directly accepted by heme BP, and simultaneously next proton is released into the lumen. The PQ molecule at QO site will be detached and will join PQ pool. The electron from heme BP is transferred to heme BN, also known as low potential chain. A PQ molecule from PQ pool now binds to QI site. The electron is transferred to PQ at a QI site. Now, PQ accepts the electron as it accepts the proton from the stroma side. Due to acceptance of one electron and one proton, now semiquinone is present at I site, it marks the end of the first half cycle. See, if we have to discuss the Q cycle, we can discuss it for the sake of convenience in two halves. The first half of the cycle is, this is the Q oocyte, which is more receptive to plastohydroquinone. So from a pool which has come from the pigment system second, the first PQH2 comes to this site. And then there is a bifurcation of its electrons. And at the same time, these two electrons will be given in two directions. One electron will go this way, which is called as the low potential chain, and then second electron will go through these carriers to PC. So that means PQH2 loses its electrons, it undergoes a bifurcation. One electron goes to iron sulfur, risky protein, and cytochrome F, and then to plastocyanin. They are called as, it's called as the high potential chain, and then it's being given to the pigment system first. At the same time, there is a translocation of two protons towards the lumen side. But the one electron which is here is accepted by low potential chain heme BP, then heme BPN, BN on towards the stroma side now. That time what will happen? There will be this site, QI site, which has a more tendency towards the plastoquinone. There will be one plastoquinone which will get associated with this binding site. It will accept this electron, and at the same time it will accept one proton from the stroma side. Since PQ has come from a PQ pool, it accepts now proton, it accepts now one electron to become semiquinone. So we have seen two protons have been translocated towards this. One proton has been accepted by this, and there it marks the end of a first half cycle. So during first half cycle, two protons are translocated from PQH2 and one proton from the stroma to the PQ. And there is a proton bifurcation also, one going through high potential chain and the another going through the low potential chain. I think it's clear to you. Then we have the second half of the cycle. At the start of the second half of cycle, other PQH2 molecule. Now this site is free because it has given its electrons. It will be vacated, and the next second PQH2 will come to this site, QO site, from the pool, Q pool. It binds to this site. Now what it will do? It will go the same way. The process will be repeated. It will pass on two protons to this side, and there will be bifurcation of the electrons. One electron will move to PC then through this high potential chain. Another will go through this. Now one electron that will be accepted by the semiquinone, which was already at the first half of the Q cycle. And it will also accept the second proton from the stroma side. As a result, it will become plastohydroquinone. That will be detached from this and will result in the regeneration of the PQH2 that will go to the PQ pool. So it marks the end of the cycle here. The whole process is witnessed as in first half cycle. After electron bifurcation and translocation of proton to lumen side, PQ formed at the Q site is detached. The electron from heme BP is transferred to the heme BN molecule and finally transferred to PQ molecule at QI site. Semiquinone at QI site also accepts the second electron as I have mentioned in the diagram, from low potential chain and one proton from the stroma side. The resultant plastohydroquinone at Qi site is detached to join the Q pole. This completes the second half of the cycle and it marks the end of the cycle. I think we have made it clear how Q cycle operates in the photosynthetic systems. Now let us see how this Q cycle is operating in the respiratory systems. A series of sequential, what is the Q cycle in respiratory system? A series of sequential oxidation and reduction reactions of electron carriers, coenzyme Q, between ubiquinol and ubiquinone forms, involving cytochrome reductase or complex third, helping in pumping of protons towards inner mitochondrial space, is known as Q cycle. Is the definition as per the respiratory system is concerned, because here is the involvement of a complex third now. There it was an involvement of cytochrome B6F complex. Here it's the involvement of a complex third, because we have seen the electron transport chain. In case of respiratory systems, there are 4 systems, and the 5th system is responsible, it's called as the ATP synthase, which is responsible for oxidative phosphorylation. So we have here a cytochrome reductase, or which is also called as the complex third, which catalyzes the transfer of electrons from ubiquinone to cytochrome C. Cytochrome C is a mobile carrier. So we have a complex third. It is composed of cytochrome C1. That's a 1 heme group. And there is also a cytochrome B, which has 2 heme groups. And there is also the Riske center, which has 2 iron and 2 sulfur. This is the nature of the cytochrome. We have seen in detail in the nature of the electron transport chain. So let us see here, this part is called as the cytochrome. This is called as the cytochrome C reductase complex, which is also called as the complex third. It is having iron sulfur here. It is having cytochrome C1, and then of course it is attached with the cytochrome C, which is a mobile carrier. And there are present 2 cytochromes, which is cytochrome B566, cytochrome 562. This is the nature of the complex third, and we will see how it will be associated with the Q cycle, and then how it is connected with the complex first and complex second, and then there is a generation of the translocation of the protons from the matrix side towards the inner mitochondrial space. So we have seen cytochrome C reductase has iron sulfur proteins. It has cytochrome C1, and there are cytochrome 2Bs which are there. Now let us see how it is operating. The electrons transferred from complex 1 or second. Complex 1 is succinate dehydrogenase complex. Complex first is NADPH reductase complex, dehydrogenase complex, and the complex which takes the NADH. Complex second is called as succinate dehydrogenase complex. So electrons are picked up from this by mobile carrier ubiquinone. Ubiquinone becomes receptive and it picks up protons from matrix side. Once it accepts the electrons, it also picks up the protons from the matrix side. So reduced ubiquinol diffuses across the membrane and binds to complex third on the intermembrane side. The cycle begins when QH2 binds to the complex third. The reduced ubiquinol or ubiquinol is oxidized by complex third. That means we have to see again there will be bifurcation. The two electrons follow different paths. One of the two electrons move through iron sulfur center, two B type cytochromes, and are picked up by cytochrome C. Cytochrome C diffuses away and travels to complex 4. The second cyclic electron moves through cytochrome B566 and B62 to another coenzyme Q binding site on the matrix surface, forming partially reduced coenzyme Q called as semiquinone. Now a second ubiquinol attaches onto the complex third. Second QH2 transfers the second pair of electrons through the same pathway and generates reduced ubiquinol at the end. It also pumps 2 proton and reduces second cytochrome C. And semiquinone receives second cyclic electron and picks up 2 more protons from forming reduced quinol. Reduced quinol is released from cytochrome C reductase complex, and each QH2 regenerated, you will see 2 molecules of QH2 are oxidized. Released coenzyme reduced quinol diffuses through the membrane to coenzyme Q binding site of the same complex on intermembrane space. It releases its 2 protons into the intermembrane space. 2 electrons back to 2 similar routes of cytochrome C reductase complex. There is a net oxidation of one oxidation of 1 QH2 to ubiquinol, and 2 electrons proceed to cytochrome C on their way to oxygen. Complex third translocates 4 protons across the membrane per electron pair passing through the complex. 2 protons from ubiquinol pole, 2 protons from ubiquinone pole, and 2 from matrix. First coenzyme Q picks up 2 protons and 2 electrons from matrix side. Reduced coenzyme Q diffuses across the membrane and binds to complex third on the intermembrane side. It releases 2 protons into the intermembrane space. So how it is operating here? We have this cytochrome C reductase complex. It has 2 sites. When there is a coenzyme Q, it will accept 2 electrons, and at the same time it will accept 2 protons, and it will become reduced coenzyme Q ubiquinol, and that will move towards this site, towards the intermembrane space, where what it will do, it will transfer its 2 protons towards the intermembrane space, and at the same time it will give it 2 electrons, 1 electron to this chain to give it to cytochrome C, because it will accept only 1 electron at a time, and second, during the bifurcation, second electron will pass on through the cytochrome B to this, and then it will result in it will be taken by the coenzyme Q, which is there. 1 electron will be taken there, and this marks the end of the utilization of first ubiquinol. Then there will be the second ubiquinol from the pool will come, and that will be in the same way. It will cause the release of the 2 protons to this side, and it will result in the bifurcation of its electrons. 1 electron will go through this, through the cytochrome C. Another electron will be taken through this, and then it will result in the reduction of semiquinone. There will be 2 electrons now, and it will accept two protons. It will be receptive. It will pick up the protons from the matrix side to become ubiquinol, and that will join this pool now. So we have seen two are utilized here. Ubiquinol are utilized here. One is regenerated here, and at the same time there is a pair of electron passing through this. That is first electron and then the second electron passing to cytochrome C, and at the same time there is a translocation of 4 protons from the matrix side towards the intermembrane space site, intermitochondrial space. And we know out of those 4, which are 2 plus 2 here, 2 are basically from this ubiquinol, and 2 are from the ubiquinol pool, and 2 are from the matrix side. So we have seen the Q cycle operating in the respiratory systems. So this is the summation of it. The less energy electrons are transferred to complex 4th through mobile carrier, that is cytochrome C. So these electrons which are passed after bifurcation, they are taken by the cytochrome C, and electrons are passed on to series of cytochromes, namely cytochrome A and A3, that we have seen in during oxidative phosphorylation through 2 copper centers. Finally, electrons are accepted by oxygen, an ultimate electron acceptor, which becomes reactive or anionic, and complex 4th or terminal oxidase finally brings about terminal reduction of oxygen, combining with 2 protons, forming a molecule of metabolic water. That is the overall oxidative phosphorylation then. So we have seen in 2 systems, the photosynthetic system as well as in case of the respiratory system, how Q cycle is responsible for the movement of the electrons and how it is responsible for pumping of the protons in both mitochondria as well as in the chloroplast, which are responsible for creating a proton motive force and which ultimately results in the generation of the ATP. So the significance of the Q cycle, as we have understood it now, a Q cycle is a cyclic process that helps in pumping of proton towards thylakoid lumen or intermembrane mitochondrial space. The proton translocation probably occurs in a Q cycle. It has been now seen experimentally also. It was proposed at that time by Okamura et al. In 2000. Q cycle maintains plastohydroquinone pool in thylakoid and ubiquinol in intermitochondrial membrane, because they also are responsible for the regeneration process of it. So this pool is maintained by the Q cycle also. And Q cycle helps in accumulation of protons in the thylakoid lumen and inner mitochondrial space, which of course results in the generation of the proton motive force, and then that force is used during the efflux of the protons towards the matrix side or towards the stroma side, results in the coupling of ADP with inorganic phosphate and leads to the production of the ATP during photophosphorylation or during oxidative phosphorylation. So we have summed up the Q cycle mechanism and significance. Hope dear students you have understood it, and in the next video we will be discussing the next discussion will be about photophosphorylation detailed mechanism of photophosphorylation in case of the plants. Till then, thank you. Be safe